Hey there everybody, how's it going? Well, today I'm going to be doing another collection video, and some people have been asking me ever since I did my game collection video, which was very well received. You guys really seem to enjoy that one. I figured, you know what, why not just go ahead and do my movie collection video, and considering some people already asked me that, might as well go ahead and do it. Now, keep in mind, like I said before my game collection video, this is not every single movie that I own. I mean, I have a ton more back home, but these are just the ones that I brought with me. I just wanted to keep around, and I like having around when I ever want to watch a movie. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look and see. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to get to the third shelf of this thing just because that's my anime section, and that's going to get its own shelf, and it's going to get its own video later on because I got a new shelf coming in a couple of weeks. So I'll do that once it comes in. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the movies, starting with Get Away From Her, You Bitch! American Gangster. The Amazing Spider-Man. I think this movie gets a lot of crap that it doesn't deserve, and I'm actually really excited for the sequel. Winner of Best Picture last year at the Academy Awards, Argo. Do I really need to say anything else for the Avengers and how awesome it is? I didn't think so. One of my favorite trilogies of all time, Back to the Future. Seriously, my dad and I will quote these movies endlessly. It's just, I can't really decide which one of these is my favorite overall. Probably, I mean, they're all good and they're all right, but I think I like number 2 the most. I think part 2 is my favorite. Batman Begins, the film that introduced me to Christopher Nolan and how awesome he is. The bloodier precursor to the Hunger Games, Battle Royale. Beauty and the Beast, which I'm surprised at how much I actually like this movie. My second favorite movie of all time, Ben-Hur, otherwise known as Charlton Heston is the man. Blade Runner 30th Anniversary Collector's Edition. Captain America, which I think is probably the ballsiest of all the Avengers films, considering you have to take the cheesiest superhero and adapt it in a way that was serious. I really liked his suit, too, in this movie. Casablanca, an absolute classic. If you have not seen this film, watch it. I actually got a chance to actually see this in theaters, and it was amazing. Another Disney film you might not expect me to like is Cinderella. I actually really enjoyed this one, despite the fact that I know it's kind of geared more towards girls, but there's something about the villain, just the evil stepmother. She's just such a bitch. Cinderella Man. Citizen Kane. I'm not really sure what I need to say about this movie. I mean, I know it's regarded as one of the greatest films ever made, and I know it's well made. It's just, I don't know. I'm going to have to hold my thoughts on that one. Now, one of the most expensive movies ever made, Cleopatra. I actually really like this movie. I'm a sucker for ancient Rome and anything related to that. Confucius. Because they're not wearing hockey pads. Die Hard Collection. No, I am not getting the 5th one. Now, if there happen to be any astronomy experts amongst you all, the North Star is that one. Dread, really underrated comic book movie in my opinion, really bloody too. Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Complete, one of 2 movies that are based around a video game that I actually think are good. Why in the world would Pixar need to make a sequel to this one when they already have The Incredibles to work off of? I don't know. Still a great movie though. For those of you who don't know, Following is actually Christopher Nolan's very first film, and I can't wait to take a look at this. Game of Thrones Season 1, I do not have the 2nd season yet, and I haven't seen Season 3 at all, so I'm trying to catch up to it kind of fast. It's still a great show though, I really enjoy it. Ghostbusters 1, no, I do not have the sequel. This is probably, I don't know if this is my favorite Bill Murray movie, but I really do love him in this movie. It's like, is everything about this man said true? Yes, it is true. This man has no dick. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I remember going to seeing this in the theaters. I went with one of my mother's friends, and we went and saw this movie. She had read the book, and I had never seen the book, and or read the book, and both of us were sitting in the movie, and then when they got to a certain point in the movie, I literally looked over her and said, I'm so glad that my mother decided not to come with us to see this movie, because I mean, if you've seen this movie, there's a certain scene that, if you know what I'm talking about, it's like, yeah, I mean, imagine a mother watching that with her son. It's just like, that would be very awkward, but still, really awesome movie. And yes, I have seen the original Swedish version. I think I like the David Fincher version better, but I still like the Swedish version. The Godfather trilogy, Francis Ford Coppola restoration. Don't ask me which one's my favorite of the Godfather movies, but it's either part 1 or part 2. I can't decide. Original Godzilla from the Criterion Collection. Gone with the Wind. Gran Torino, or as I like to call it, my grandpa of the movies. The Green Mile, damn good Frank Darabont movie. I really do enjoy this. I haven't seen Shawshank Redemption yet, but I will get around to that. The Great Mouse Detective. Vincent Price's Count Ratigan is amazing. One of my favorite film sagas of all time, Harry Potter. Now, yes, I do own all the books, all hardcover, and yes, I do love all the films. However, I do not nitpick the films to death just because certain elements of the books are not in them. I like them both equally, so there. Moses! Moses! Can you hear me, Moses? Yes, Lord, I can hear you! A deaf man can hear you. What? Nothing! Now, my Joan of Arc teacher never stopped talking about this movie. Hugo. Damn good movie, though. It's just, Something about this movie just feels so whimsical, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And it actually, I think it got me more interested in watching like much older films. And I really want to see A Trip to the Moon like in its entirety. If I can find the steelbook for that, let me know, because I want to hunt that sucker down. Ice Age 1, the only one I actually feel like worth owning. The movie that revived my faith in cinema, Inception. I absolutely adore this movie. I originally did not want to see this film. In fact, when I was doing this, my family was like, come on, Perry, let's go see a movie. And I did not want to see Inception. I knew nothing about it. I just didn't care to see it. And when I saw that, I was just like, thank you. A movie for smart people. A movie that doesn't treat me like an idiot. And then I saw it was directed by Christopher Nolan. It's like, oh! One of the greatest adventure series of all time, Indiana Jones Complete Adventures Collection. Now, if you're going to ask me which one's my favorite Indiana Jones film, I'd have to say, oh boy, that's a tough one. Between Last Crusade and Raiders of the Lost Ark, that's really hard. I'm going to have to say Last Crusade because of Sean Connery. That is, I mean, come on, James Bond is Indy's dad. You can't get much better than that. Iron Man 1, Jurassic Park Trilogy, King Arthur, which I kind of consider a bit of a guilty pleasure. I understand most people don't like this movie, but I felt like it was kind of an interesting take on the King Arthur legend, and I'm always a sucker for how they always interpret legends and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. King Kong, the Peter Jackson version. The King's Speech. Helen Bonham Carter actually playing a normal chick, Colin Firth with an amazing speech impediment and an inspiring story, and Jeffrey Rush, come on, it's Jeffrey Rush. Do I even need to say he's awesome? I didn't think so. Kingdom of Heaven Director's Cut. Much better than the theatrical cut, I'll say that. One of my most anticipated Blu-rays for a long time was Lawrence of Arabia, and I swear this did not disappoint. This is an amazing, amazing, epic movie, and the sound and the picture quality of this is insane. Another Criterion Blu-ray, The Last Emperor. One of my favorite films of last year, Lincoln. I love this movie so much. I'll say though, a little fun story though. When I was a kid, I loved this movie, but I also had a stuffed Simba. It scared the crap out of me as a kid. I would have like nightmares about that lion so much. It just, something about it just scared me. Maybe I loved it on the screen, but whenever I had that stuffed lion, it scared the crap out of me. One of my favorite trilogies of all time, the Lord of the Rings Motion Picture Trilogy Extended Edition. And for those of you who might be wondering why don't I have The Hobbit already, well, I'm sort of waiting for all three of them to come out, and that way they're going to release that giant extended edition set that you know is going to happen, so I'm kind of holding off on The Hobbit for now. But still, excellent, excellent trilogy. My personal favorite is probably Return of the King, then Two Towers, and then Fellowship. The Matrix 1, which I think is actually kind of alright. Not the hugest fan of it, but it's still pretty fun. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Now, I'm not going to lie when I say this, folks. For the longest time, when I first saw the trailer, I thought to myself, wait a minute, Tom Cruise looks really familiar to someone I know. Who is it? And I couldn't pin it. And then I looked at the back of the cover of this, and it was just like, holy crap, Tom Cruise looks like my dad. And I'm not kidding you. I literally thought that Tom Cruise looked like my dad. With the suit, the glasses, the hair, everything. Like, everything about it just looked like my dad, although my dad's a lot taller than Tom Cruise. Mongol, The Rise of Genghis Khan, or as I like to call it, Genghis Khan Begins. Where's the monster? Is it behind the rabbit? It is the rabbit. The Patriot, the only Mel Gibson film and Roland Emmerich film that I actually feel like owning. Plus, Heath Ledger is awesome in this movie. Patton. I'm actually thinking about getting this one traded in so that way I can get the remastered version. But this is actually one of my dad's favorite movies, so, and it's for good reason. It's a really, really interesting take on Patton and how George C. Scott just, holy crap, I mean, that guy is Patton. That guy was made to play Patton on film. He was incredible. Peter Pan. I understand that I liked this movie as a kid, but looking back on it now, it's just more like, I mean, if you like Peter Pan, that's fine. It's just, maybe it's just not my thing anymore. Most quotable movie ever. Prometheus. Probably one of my favorite underrated Pixar movies is Ratatouille. I don't know why, but every time I see this movie, I always feel like I want to learn how to cook. Rowan Kenshin, the live-action movie. Seriously, if anyone has not seen this and they're a Kenshin fan, watch it. It is amazing. And the sequels look to be even better. One of the most influential epic films ever made, Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Seriously, it is amazing. Say hello to my little friend. One of the most powerful movies I've seen in recent memory, Schindler's List. I used to think that Ralph Fiennes was pretty scary as Voldemort until I saw this. holy crap, he's a maniac. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Seriously, this movie is so underrated in my opinion. I have a lot of fun with it. It's like the perfect nerd movie, and I'm so mad that it didn't do as well as the box office as it should have. I mean, like every year, there's always been someone that I like to call it the Scott Pilgrim of the summer, meaning a movie that's so much fun and so enjoyable that it needed to do well, but it didn't. This is the movie that started that term for me. And Ramona Flowers, my God, Mary Elizabeth Winstead looks so hot. I mean, if I had a girlfriend that looked or acted like Ramona Flowers a little bit, I would be perfectly fine with that. Although I prefer the blue hair Ramona because that one's hotter in my opinion. Oh, and she also wouldn't be a gamer. Oh man, if you have not seen this show and you're a fan of Sherlock, go and watch it. Seriously, it is amazing. Silver Linings Playbook. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, an amazing actress in my opinion. Star Trek. I'm surprised at how much I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I was never a fan of Star Trek before I saw this movie, and after I did, I just decided to watch it in my dorm one day, and I was like, holy crap, this movie actually really surprised me. It made Star Trek actually look cool, and I really, really loved the sequel. I mean, they just had to add Benedict Cumberbatch as John Harrison. It's just, oh, so awesome. Star Wars The Complete Saga. Now, I'm going to go ahead and admit this right now. I'm not a massive prequel hater. I just don't see a point in hating on them so much. I mean, something about I kind of feel sorry for the prequels in some way. I feel sorry for them in that they get so much hate, and there's still something good about them. There's still some things good in them, and I know a lot of nostalgia-fied Star Wars fans is like, the prequels are the worst thing. George Lucas raped my childhood. And it's just like, really? They're just kind of, The Phantom Menace is just kind of okay at best. Attack of the Clones, I will admit, that's my least favorite out of the prequels. Revenge of the Sith, I don't care what anyone says, that one was awesome. I mean, that had literally Sidious and Yoda going at it in the Senate Hall with Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar, and they're duking it out on a lava planet. I don't care what anyone says, but that's a fight I always wanted to see. That was the one thing that Revenge of the Sith had to do, was show me how Vader fell to the dark side, and show me Anakin and Obi-Wan and Yoda and Sidious fighting each other. That's all they needed to do. However, as a story, I understand that the original trilogy is better. But I do like the prequels in some way, shape, or form. And just to go and get this out of the way, here's my favorite to the least favorite. 6, 5, 3, 4, 1, 2. Tarantino Collection. Otherwise, the Quentin Tarantino Collection. If you're going to ask me which one's my favorite Tarantino film, that would be impossible to do at the moment. I need to see everything that he's done, and then I can give you a clear answer to that. Out of the current films I've seen right now, I love Pulp Fiction. Kill Bill is pretty cool. I really do like that one. Inglourious Basterds is hilarious. Django Unchained, I mean, that one, I would have to say in terms of my overall enjoyment of the film, it's either Pulp Fiction or Django Unchained. Either one of those is probably my favorite currently. Terminators 1 and 2, the only ones I actually feel like owning, and I'm not going to lie, I really surprised how much I enjoyed the first one. I mean, the second one is amazing, don't get me wrong, but the first one is actually really good in its own right, and I kind of find it to be a bit underrated. Total Recall remake with Colin Farrell, it was enjoyable, I won't lie, it's not the greatest science fiction movie I've ever seen, but it's still kind of a fun romp. Now, I know I'm going out of alphabetical order with this one because I have to mention this DVD because it kind of segues into my next set, but the only DVD I actually keep around with me is Mary Poppins, and that's because it's my favorite childhood movie of all time. However, as much as I love this movie, which I absolutely do, it's probably my top 3 favorite movies, or top 5 movies of all time. If there's any one trilogy that had to sum up my childhood up to early adulthood, it's this, the Toy Story trilogy. Which one do I like most? That's really hard for me to say, because I don't know which one I like the most out of all of these. Like, this is, like, trying to pick one out of this set, it's just like, I love this movie, but I like this movie too, and it's just, the first one was so good, it's just, Probably my favorite Jim Carrey movie, The Truman Show. I do really like The Mask. I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, but the Truman Show is just, I love the soundtrack, I love the theme, I love the sheer amount of, just the unhindered, unbridled drive of curiosity and finding out the truth between Jim Carrey. He really does great in this dramatic role. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I absolutely love The Truman Show. Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. So badass. Next up is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I am surprised at how much I really enjoy this movie. The songs, everything, the sets, and even Gene Wilder. He's so much fun as Wonka. I absolutely love it. I'm personally indifferent on the idea of Brave, but I don't mind because Wreck-It Ralph, in my opinion, should have won the Oscar for Best Animated Film of the Year. Yeah, so good. It got all the jokes, it got all the references and the idea of a video game world, and it was so good. It was a world set in a video game world. It's just, I hope there's a sequel. I really want to see it happen. This really should have won the Oscar. I don't care what anyone says. This should have done it. X-Men First Class. I really do like this movie. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender just kicked ass as Xavier and Magneto. It's just, I can't wait to see the sequel. And after seeing the Wolverine, I kind of want to see the other X-Men movies and just take a look at those. And finally, the last one I have in my collection is Zombieland, or as I like to call it, Left 4 Dead the movie, also featuring one of the best cameos ever. So there you go, folks. That's my film collection. I apologize if that was a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but comment below, tell me what you think of my collection, and any films you suggest that I should add or take a look at for myself. And so comment below, tell me what you think, and I will do my anime collection video in a couple of weeks once I get my new shelf. So until next time, I'm Perry, the one-armed legend. You name it, I can play it.